What's up, everybody? Welcome to 3D Rivals, your first line of defense against stupid movies. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, my sister,
Doris.
Doris. And today we are back on the highway to the danger zone as we review Top Gun Maverick. Now, before we get into the movie, we want to discuss some box office numbers. Now, of course, we record this on Sundays, usually breaking the fourth wall, but we record it late night on Sunday. So, especially in the point of Top Gun, since this is Memorial Day weekend, we don't have all of the box office numbers, but we can say what's happening so far this weekend. So first, I'll start with the top five for the week. You have Top Gun Maverick, which everyone predicted, right? Which IMDb is showing the weekend gross, or I'll get to his exact numbers before, because I think these numbers in the top five is a bit behind.
It's a little behind.
Yeah, so I have some other numbers for Top Gun Maverick in a second. We'll go over that. But it is number one for the weekend. Not surprising. You have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness at number two. So it is still holding on. So even with, because I think there was quite a few people who had problems with the movie. I think, it had a B plus cinema score. But box office wise, not doing too bad. So far, weekend gross, it has 16.4 million. Total is 370 million, and this is domestic numbers. So that's 370 million domestic, a lot more worldwide, and that's its fourth week of release. Bob's Burgers also came out this weekend. Probably a bad idea.
Definitely a bad idea because I'm like, I would like to watch the Bob's Burgers movie, but why would you go up against Top Gun? This shit came out like last week when.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. Yeah, definitely shouldn't have competed with Top Gun, but it did make 12.6 million, putting it at number three for the weekend. Downton Abbey is still up here this week, number two, with 5.9 million, has 28 million total. There's a story behind the people going to see Downton Abbey. If you break down the demographics of everything,
Old people.
uh,
Who's watching a
that
Downton
and
Abbey movie?
they were saying this movie has a higher number of Caucasian women that have gone to the movie, which is not a group of people that have been going to the theater. So this movie seems to have gotten that demographic back into going to the movies since the pandemic.
Interesting you said that because Top Gun's demographic was mostly, I was gonna say old people, but older people, people who had been hesitant to go back to the movie, but the nostalgia is real, so they all
Yeah,
came back for Top Gun.
that is. I mean, that will get you back, right? So,
I guess.
well, you heard our review for the first Top Gun movie, but we'll get to this one. All right, so Downton Abbey was number four, and then in number five we have Bad Guys, with a weekend gross so far of 4.6 million, and total gross so far after 6 weeks 8.1, or excuse me, $81.4 million. So those are your top five. I'm going to put an honorable mention. Sonic left the top five, but it is number six. Still, after 8 weeks, that's 2 months in theater, which I don't know if a lot of movies really do that long of a run. At least one that makes money throughout the whole run.
I don't think 8 weeks is unusual. I mean, but it's still major. I think it's not surprising because there's just not that many movies being released.
That's true. It did get in early before the summer release schedule really kicked off, so
Yeah.
that definitely helped it. And it on the weekend made 2.5 million, so a bit lower, but 185 million point one total for Sonic. So that's actually pretty good. Those are the top five box office gross numbers. Nothing surprising about that. But let's talk a bit about Top Gun. So if we were to go to Top Gun's totals, so far, Box Office Mojo shows $151 million domestically and $109 million internationally so far this weekend. Of course, like we said, we are going to be missing some numbers. People are still going to the theater today. Is Sunday, and they're going to be going tomorrow throughout the day. So the weekend totals for Top Gun's going to be probably much higher, I would assume, than what it is now. But they have $260 million worldwide already this weekend. That is an excellent start for Top Gun.
It is. I believe it will be Tom Cruise's highest grossing movie.
Really?
I think it will be, yeah.
Wow, I would have thought like a Mission Impossible or something.
I would think so too.
Hmm.
But I don't know, maybe I misread that, but that's what I thought I read.
I
But
mean, it's a pretty high high gross, so it's pretty good. So, of course, those numbers took our breath away, much like Top Gun Maverick. So, why don't we jump into our review of this movie? First, before we get into anything, I'm going to say total 5 stars for starting the movie off with Take My Breath Away and Highway to the
okay.
Danger Zone.
So I'm gonna say, wait, did they didn't use "Take My Breath
I
Away"?
thought that was the instrument, like,
No,
no, that wasn't?
no, that's just the that's how stupid. That's how Danger Zone starts off.
That's how dangerous. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, 4.5 stars.
yeah. I will say this since you brought up them, I think this movie did a really good job of doing throwbacks to the original movie without it being so over the top and
Hmm.
just a lot of times your movies do like that nostalgia feel and it just feels so forced.
Yeah, and it's always reference after
Yeah.
reference after
And I
reference.
think
Yeah,
like this movie started off the exact same way the original one started off.
yeah,
But it felt so natural.
yeah.
Even scenes that they redid, like with him driving the motorcycle on the flight line, which by the way, can I do?
Can I do?
Yep, learned that this weekend.
Oh, did you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I did too.
And we were right, he would have got kicked out a long time ago.
Hmm.
But so like even them recreating scenes, it didn't feel forced. Like Penny lived in the same house that Charlie lived in.
Yeah,
And it was just it kind of they integrated it well. So good job doing that.
yeah, I think that was pretty good. And then one thing overall about the movie that I appreciate over the original Top Gun, because I'm gonna put it out there, I think this is better than the original movie.
Mhm.
And one thing that I noticed about the movie is this movie had stakes, whereas the original movie, I think we mentioned it when we did our review last time. I just felt like we watched a week in this guy's life for some reason,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But this movie, from the beginning, they set a like there was something they needed to do, and you felt that throughout the movie. They had to reach it. Only parts to me that slowed down was with Penny. I I didn't care about their relationship, but they focused on it.
You didn't need it, but I felt like in this movie it was like Maverick growing some. Because in the first movie, Penny was mentioned as being the admiral's daughter that he was with.
Hmm.
So that's who she's supposed to be.
Okay.
And you know how in the first one it's like he makes all of these decisions because he's he got a big ego and blah blah blah. But I feel like in this movie, because you said the stakes were real, but I also felt like there was like some growth to it because it was like this time him breaking the rules was necessary.
Yes, I agree with that too. Last time, another one of our complaints about the original movie were like, I think he's the same person at the end of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And in this, it did feel like he matured. I mean, I would hope he did. It's been 30 years.
Right. Right, but he matured. So even then, like going back to Penny for just a little bit, it was saying that like he was always the girl, she was always the girl he went back to, right?
Hmm.
But this time it felt like he was like ready, like, okay, I'm not, the stupid kid anymore or whatever. Like we can be in a real relationship. And so even though I felt like it wasn't necessary, I think it was good for him.
For the character, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. So going through the movie, I really enjoyed. It's not the first scene, but like the flight scene, that flight test scene with the new plane. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I really enjoyed it. I think the shots were really cool, just showing how it worked. You can see the air friction on the plane and everything. Like, I thought it was cool
Yeah.
and an exciting scene.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Just Honestly, I really don't have a lot of complaints about this movie, but yeah, I think the shots for the plane was really cool, just how they showed it, and even showing like like when it's heating up and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah. Although, dude, should have just stopped at Mach
But
10.
you knew he wasn't going to, right?
Come
And
on,
then I'm
man.
like, how much did that plane cost?
Bro, it was a prototype. You know, that had to
Exactly.
be like
So
a $500 million
it's
or
not like
something.
there's not another prototype in the garage.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like, dude, why don't you just stop at 10?
Should have stopped at 10. Almost died.
Yeah, but we knew that he wasn't. So
Okay, how fast do people go? Like, because I'm like, all right, 10 times the speed of sound seems a bit much.
it's a lot.
It's a lot. What is the fastest a plane has gone? Do we know?
I don't know. I do know F-18s was what they were flying.
Mm-hmm.
Top speed is Mach 1.8,
1.8.
which is super fast. So 10 would be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, which then makes me think, can a human sustain that? Maybe, yes. Does it
Well,
matter?
you see, he wasn't in regular flight gear
Okay.
in that plane.
Yeah, he was in like an astronaut suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, because you're going to have to be able to sustain that. We're going to talk about G's later,
Mm-hmm.
because my God. But all right. So, yeah, I thought that scene was cool. Ended a little funny with the kid saying that he was on Earth.
That was cute. Yeah.
That was funny. Okay, so he gets called back, and it seems like every time he's about to get kicked out, just like in the first movie, you're like, all right, and we're gonna send you to Top Gun.
But see, this time it made sense because they needed a pilot like him to do that mission. And then I thought another thing that makes sense was that Iceman was protecting him. Iceman is an admiral now, and little things about the military. If you're a general or an admiral, you have a lot of pull. So him being called in would absolutely make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, especially since this was. I'm glad they made it clear that this was like a highly specialized mission that not anybody could fly.
Right.
And it almost impossible for him to fly, even though, but he's a good pilot, so he was able to do it.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about that because we're still talking about the enemy. We still don't name whoever we're fighting against. I guess that's a good choice.
You don't want to make anyone angry. Although the use of the F-14s makes it Iran. Because the U.S. and Iran were the only two countries that used F-14s. The U.S. stopped using F-14s a long time ago.
I was under the impression that they had like some old U.S. F-14s.
It could be.
Okay.
I mean, that's sure a thing, but for countries that used them, U.S. and Iran were the two countries that used them.
Okay. Interesting. So the premise is we have to stop them from putting a uranium plant together. So right now it doesn't have any uranium in it, so they gotta blow it up before they can get it up and running. Because we don't want people to have that. I guess agreed.
Agreed. You know what made me think? For them to build that plant and that little domey mountain thing, that just seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, because there was like no tunnel through the mountain, right? Or was
so
there?
I guess no. So I guess they were helicoptering all the stuff in. Maybe you think?
Yeah. Helicopter seems like it makes more sense. I was thinking they brought it up and over the mountain, but no, helicopter definitely. Yeah, but it was underground though, right? So the only thing that was up was a vent. So they had to dig. Maybe they dug underground, like through, and then.
I guess I don't know. It just seems extremely difficult to have this thing.
It does. That's true. All right, so they've got the best pilots from the Top Gun Academy, which included what's his face from Fantastic Four and other things.
Who was in Fantastic Four?
The kids, the Goose's son.
He was in Fantastic Four?
The one we never saw, that we'll never see.
Oh, yeah. He was Mr.
Miles
Fantastic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
When I watched this, I was like, I don't see him as Mr. Fantastic. I feel like that's a bad choice.
Yeah, when you saying he was in it, I'm like, he has to be Mr. Fantastic because who else would he have been?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that he doesn't look anything at all like. So this is why I didn't see this movie. Everyone was just bad choices.
Yeah. So, actually, I think he actually looks the role. I was like, yeah, I would believe that as Goose's son.
Yeah, no, yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, and so the conflict here we have his name is Rooster. I get what they were going for. I feel like you could have picked something better.
I would agree,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, funny thing. So you watched the video too. So the call signs are given to you just based on like a trait of yours.
Yeah, usually a bad trait.
Yeah. So nobody would be called Maverick or
No,
Iceman.
no. Yeah, I was
Well,
like,
you
oh,
could
that's
be
this.
called Iceman. What
But
if
for
you
the
always eating
wrong.
ice?
Yeah, but you be called Iceman for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
I feel like they did it slightly better in this movie because Hangman was called Hangman because like leaves
Yeah,
you.
he leaves you hanging,
Yeah.
which then made me wonder about Bob.
What is Bob?
What is Bob?
No, I know he's just a Bob. You know what? I told y'all when I was in college, we had somebody nicknamed Bob for no reason. We just called him Bob. It was not his name.
Okay, it just makes me wonder, like, why?
It's Bob.
That's okay. I end up liking Bob.
Yeah, Bob was cool. All right, but the conflict, I feel like it was real between Miles Teller and Maverick, or Rooster and Maverick. I felt like that was a real conflict, and it made sense. It wasn't forced. Like if I'm Maverick, I understand him and I feel him.
Mm-hmm.
Like your father died flying with me,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I might pull your application. Like maybe I don't want you to die too, and I get why Rooster would be mad about that. Fairly enough, so I see both sides of it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm glad because at first when I was watching the trailers, I thought it was going to be Rooster blaming Maverick for his father's stuff. So I'm glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
He was basically mad. It's like you delayed my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I get it, right? Like you want to do something, and then this guy who's supposed to be protecting, supposed to be family, basically, hinders that.
Yeah.
And Maverick's like, look, I did it for you. I did it for your mother. Like, what else was I supposed to do? I'm trying to protect you. So it made sense. The conflict to me was real. Them getting over it to me made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no issues there.
Yeah. Actually, well written.
Yeah.
Who were the writers on this movie?
I just had it. One moment, please, while I pull that back up.
One moment, please. I'm sorry. um, so yeah, that's one thing I feel about this movie. As we go through everything, but I do feel like the writing went pretty well. Towards the end, it did get a bit predictable. I still enjoyed it, but I did at one point I was just like, okay, I can predict what was going to happen, except for their escape, which I guess they foreshadowed anyway.
You didn't. Oh, I knew that was coming. So yeah, you're right. And I was thinking yesterday was like, even though it was predictable, I thought it was done in a good way. Like it's like they're not going to kill Maverick. They're not going to kill Rooster.
Yeah, I don't know. I did for a second. I was like, they might kill Maverick though, because like this isn't a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
I, they could try it, but it's it was just a sequel to the last movie. Tom Cruise ain't gonna do a bunch more of these if they choose to.
Well, he's too
They
old.
Yeah, they could have chosen to kill Maverick right there, and it would have been
Fine.
it would have been fine. Yeah,
They weren't going to kill Maverick. I was like,
yeah,
there's no way they're going to kill this dude. It's just not that kind of movie.
yeah. But I predicted him jumping, like using his plane to shield the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was predictable. So I'm like, even though I knew it was coming, like I knew Hangman was going to come and save them, I didn't. I think this is one thing where something is predictable, but I was still okay with that because
Yeah.
it was done well.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk more in detail in the future about it. But like you said, with Hangman, the suspense in that scene was still tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, because I kept going like, all right, and they're gonna come and save them, right? And they're gonna come and save them, right? And like, but it still kept that suspense up, which was really good.
Yeah.
They did come and save them, but shot well, written well.
Yeah, it took a while. So the writers were, I actually don't know these guys' history, but the story was by Peter Craig and Justin Marks. I will have to go look up and see what else they did.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard their names before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. what else? Okay, the training. Interesting. I was actually more invested in the training in this movie than I was in the original Top Gun because there was a point, right?
Right.
Like original, he's just trying to be number one in the class, I guess. But this, like, they had to learn how
To
to do
yeah,
this.
to fly a certain way and do certain things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the training was doing well because it was like they were training for this one thing. So you can see them preparing for something and then actually doing it, which made sense. And then that it was they spent a lot of time failing, which I also thought was good because you had a room full of people with big egos.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone thought they could do it, which so every like okay, the guy in charge, I forget his name.
John Hamm,
Yeah, well, yeah, John Hamm,
whatever his name was in the movie.
but like it felt like to me like he just disliked Maverick just to dislike him. I get that he was kind,
Yeah,
unruly and stuff, but like he's training these people for this mission, and like Maverick said, so they can also do the mission and come home,
yeah,
right? So, like in the beginning, when he's flying against them, like, oh, you haven't taught him anything. Like you mentioned, it's like they all have egos. He had to show them that just because they're great doesn't mean they can do this mission automatically.
right. You know that you're not as good as you think you are, and there's always someone better,
Yeah.
right? So they're in the air, and he's like, "Look, I will beat every single one of you," and he did, even though he got 30, 40 years on him.
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. Okay. So I didn't know this in the original movie, and I know you know now. But so the hard deck is the ground.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise's or Maverick's argument going a little bit below the hard deck. I was like, so you crashed your plane into the ground, basically.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
They went below the hard deck a ton of times
Yeah,
in this. I was like, every one of them. I'm like, didn't they say 5,000 feet?
exactly. So you have to stay above 5,000 feet. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk dogfights. I mean, I know it's not fair comparing the two movies, but much better.
Well, that was your main complaint, and I'm like, I really feel like this movie was what the first movie would have been if
Yeah.
technology existed. Like,
Yeah.
this movie is literally the remake of Top Gun.
Yeah,
They did everything that they couldn't do the first time.
yeah.
Is what it is.
Because they couldn't get the shots that they have in this. But
Yeah.
plus, I think this probably made it better. But these were real planes flying, and they got the shots from the planes flying and stuff, which looked good. Looked really good.
Well, one of the reasons they didn't do it in the first movie, well, not like they had some planes flying, but it's because the actors kept getting sick in the first movie.
Ah,
So then they just moved them to the studio on gimbals and stuff like that because Tom Cruise was the only one that was like when they have shots in the cockpit that they could use. They was like everyone else was like they were like passing out or their eyes are rolling back or they're getting sick and it's like okay we can't do this. So so in this movie, Tom Cruise wanted the actors to go through harder training to be prepared to fly in the planes.
yeah. See, now, I've always wanted to fly like one of these planes. Like,
Really?
they look awesome. Yes, it looks super fun.
So after seeing all that stuff that they've been through, you would still be like, yeah, I want to do that.
What? Like, I don't want to be in a dogfight. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm just not even the dog fight. Just being up there with all of those G forces and stuff on you. You're
Yeah, it looks awesome.
like, okay, I will pass on that.
No, I don't know if I can handle it. But, like, I mean, that looks really cool. I always love those planes. Those planes are cool.
Okay,
Probably why I like the movie so much.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Interesting.
So, all right, so it's interesting you mentioned that because, yeah, they were really in the planes in this, so we got a lot of good shots there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so only F-18s could have flown this mission. I guess they were best for the mission.
I think it was because they were the best for the mission.
Yeah, because it was like, we have faster planes, right?
Yeah, but see, it wasn't really so much speed, right? Because they also had to make maneuvers too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was them flying inverted and going up and doing other things I don't know the terms for.
Yeah.
So, so I guess you need a agile plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So we went over the training, everything. I guess it's just the last thing, because all it was the training. You know, the admiral or whatever doesn't like
Hmm. Oh yeah, we were
Tom
talking about
Cruise.
John Hamm and how he was a jerk just to be a jerk.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it didn't even make any sense. And then like the first chance he got to kick Maverick off, he
Yeah.
did.
And there was no point. And then I'm like, this is not the best time. Maybe fire him afterwards. But I think you need him on this mission.
Right, you're gonna fire him a week and a half before the mission go, and then be like, yeah, we're gonna do it this way. Dude, you wanna get everyone killed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, because he had him slow down.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise is like, if you do that, but he was willing to sacrifice people though. He's
Yeah,
willing to say
which-
like everyone was not gonna come home from this. Tom Cruise is like, we do this way, we give them a better chance of surviving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the better chance of surviving.
Let's try it with the better chance of surviving. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he's like, oh, it can't be done. And then so Tom Cruise comes in and does that. He would definitely be gone. Because you got kicked out. And then you showed up in one of their planes, which John Hamm mentioned. Like, basically, you stole a plane.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm glad they explained it more because, like, I feel like in the old movie it would just be like, but you're Maverick, you know, blah blah
Right.
blah.
Yeah.
But he explained it more because it's like I can either dishonorably discharge you, but here are the consequences for that.
Yeah.
Right. Or you can have him lead the mission, which makes sense. I'm like, I don't know why they didn't want to have him lead the mission anyway, since he was the best pilot to do it.
I guess it's because one, he didn't like him. Two, Tom Cruise is older. So
He's the best pilot. Can he still fly?
look, yeah.
I mean, he just flew a prototype plane at Mach 10.
Yeah, but they're I guess they're saying this like we got all of these 20 somethings up in here. They lead the mission and you just tell them how to do it. I guess I don't know.
All right, I'm like you. At that point, you just get the best pilot for the job, right? And
Well-
you get the best of the rest of them because he needs a team, and he'll have them.
Yeah. Well,
Train
I
him.
mean, I guess they end up getting the best pilot because he was the only one that could do it apparently.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, so final act. Now you were talking about all the stuff they had to do, climbing a mountain and stuff. Oh no, there were some other things that happened during the training that I thought was good. Some predictable, but I still thought it was a good part of the story. One, you had the guy pass out
Mm-hmm.
in the plane from doing the how many G's did they have to sustain? 9?
9. No. Was it 9 or 10?
I don't know, 9 or 10, one of the two.
One or the two. Let's
Either
say
way,
10.
you don't really want to. In Roller Coaster Tycoon, if your roller coaster has that, people don't like it.
I'm sure.
So, yeah. So he passed out from it. And I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, they're going through this. I'm like, what happens if you pass out in this plane that you're flying? It's not like the person behind you can fly the plane instead.
Right, which maybe there's no room they're trying to keep. I was wondering like how come their co-pilot can't fly?
I know. You might need someone like in the passenger plane.
Exactly.
The co-pilot can take over.
Yeah. I feel like we need those in these planes, but maybe there's no room. Or
have a remote takeover. Okay, we can do that, and it could
yeah,
safely level the plane out or something.
yeah, because the guy passes out, and then it's just like, okay, well this plane is crashing now.
You know what someone needs to engineer? Like a monitor, right? So a vital signs monitor, and if something happens to the pilot, autopilot kicks on, and the plane can level out at least,
That makes sense.
so it's not crashing to the ground.
Yeah. Good.
I'm pretty sure those planes have autopilot. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure. It
Yeah.
might exist and just they didn't show it in the movie.
Okay, but that scene, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was done well. Also, the bird flying into Phoenix's plane.
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oof. And I'm like, are they gonna kill her? I was like, no, don't.
Yeah, I was thinking like, man, that'd be messed up if they killed somebody else during a training mission.
Yeah. And that again would have been nobody's fault. kind of sucks that a bird can just take the planes down. But I mean, what are you gonna do about that?
I think isn't that what took down that plane that had to land in the Hudson? Wasn't it birds?
It probably, I think so.
Mm.
Birds. Don't fly through stuff, birds. Come on.
Yeah, like it's like they can't see.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
So, but that was kind of an intense scene. I think it also done well, and they lost the plane on that too. So,
Yes.
you know, they weren't able to salvage it, but they did eject in time. So cool. All right, now final scene.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think done well. The run was cool. Some parallels between Rooster and Maverick, I guess, throughout that. You know, him not having the, what do you mean, like the will or whatever to kind of push himself through the mission, and then coming through at the end.
Yeah.
Um, the whole scene was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the whole third act to me I thought was done really well. I liked the actual mission aspects of it, of them flying through the course and doing it, like you said, like Rooster overcoming, because his whole problem was he was too conservative. And it seems like even though he's like, hey, I want to do this, it's like in the back of his mind he's well aware that his father died during the same thing.
Yeah.
So he was always holding back.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, hey, you know, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to succeed if this is what you're doing.
Right.
So I think it was good to see him overcome that, even though it was always weird, like, oh, yeah, in 5 minutes. Okay, yeah, now I can go really fast through this course when you were a minute behind.
I think he could always do it. He's just holding himself back.
Well, yeah, I know, but it always seems so weird to me. Just like in the other one, the guy was like, oh, I can't land it. Then he lands the plane. Or, you know, Maverick is like, oh, I'm all shook up. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll join the fight.
Also, at least this time, Maverick going after crashing planes in his plane, it made sense. In the first movie, he's like, I'm gonna take off and I'm gonna go after him.
Like, what are you doing?
And he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He just flew next. Like, what are you gonna do? This time, like with the guy who passed out, he targeted him so that it would put an alarm off in his plane to try and get him to wake up.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
That makes
now
sense
that makes more sense than just the whatever they did in the first movie, which
yeah, like in the first movie that was like, what are you not landing? How's that going to help that guy?
Yeah, it's not going to help him at all.
No, you're doing nothing for him. Now you both going to crash. So yeah, now this one made more sense. But yeah, I thought the whole scene. I thought at the end after they they blow up the thing, but with the what were they? Fifth generations, they kept saying.
Yeah, I was like, fifth generation what? What kind of plane is it? Is it a MiG?
No, the internet said it was a Sukhoi Su-57 Fallon? I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's assuming the internet is even correct about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Look kind of cool.
They did look cool. So, yeah, so like those last scenes with them trying to escape them, I thought was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
And even exciting, like when Maverick comes back to save Rooster. It's just like, you knew he was going to be in trouble. I knew he was going to survive, but I still thought it was done well.
Yeah. I kind of predicted well, it kind of happened different, but like throughout it, I'm like, okay, so they're going to run out and Maverick's going to block a missile with his plane.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of did that, but he did use flares.
Yeah.
And he got hit afterwards.
Yeah.
And then everybody was able to escape.
Yeah.
And yeah, the mission went off. They were able to do it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So they both crashed.
Right, because Rooster came back to save Maverick, which I seen coming. Even though I thought that scene was done really well too, because it's like Rooster's coming back, but then it's just like at any moment, like when he about to go shoot this helicopter down.
Yeah. Again, see, maybe it was their timing with the stuff, because like we said in the end when we knew Hangman was gonna come save him, yeah, we knew Rooster was coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like, okay, so Rooster's gonna come shoot the helicopter, right?
Yeah.
So Rooster's gonna come, and he does eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess they know how to make a movie.
Yeah. And then even at the end, like the callback to the F-14s, what they used in the original movie, I thought was well done, because I'm like, honestly, I didn't see that coming. He's like, oh, hey, there's this F-14. I can fly that.
Yeah.
So
I didn't either. Which, like I said, in the beginning of the movie, I guess they foreshadowed it because they mentioned
yeah,
it. But yeah, and I even when they met up with each other, I'm like, okay, so how are they gonna get out? They're gonna get captured, and be POWs, you know?
right, yeah, because no one else was coming.
Yeah, and no, he's like, oh, at F-14. I'm like, oh, okay, didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Hmm. So they fly out in the F-14. Do they win against these fifth generation planes? Not the plane, it's the pilot.
I was gonna say that it's not the plane, it's the pilot.
Yeah,
And so in that case, I say yes, but then again, they were losing.
they were losing. Well, one, him taking out the first plane as quickly as he did was smart
Hmm.
because they weren't engaging them yet.
Yeah,
They were going to,
yeah,
but they weren't yet. And then I guess yeah, using the terrain to confuse targeting and stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, just smart plays.
yeah, yeah. I think to me that all made sense. And then also at the end when it was just like I have nothing else, that also made sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. Um. And then the movie ends.
Yeah, basically, and it ends the same way the first one ended.
Yes, everyone cheering on the boat, even though like there's likely somebody coming after them. You know, we're all like, yeah, woo! Of course, there's not gonna be another plane coming to
Right.
shoot at us.
They killed all the planes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all
Hmm.
right, yes. It does, and it's just like the last movie ended. I feel like Hangman was just like a stand-in for Iceman.
Hmm.
Although he was a bit more arrogant, he had a kind of a one-note character. If I was complaining about any character, it'd be Hangman.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Which is probably why I'm glad he wasn't on the final mission.
yeah,
He was, yeah, I don't know. They could have done more with him, but maybe they didn't want to because the story was about Maverick and Rooster.
true, true. And oh, you got the whole. I was wondering if they were going to do this, but you got to get Maverick with Rooster as his co-pilot.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that nice little callback in there, which is pretty
indeed.
cool.
Yeah.
Nitpicks or
We're
no movie facts. I always forget movie facts.
it's like
Random movie facts.
it's the main thing we do. How are you gonna forget it? Okay, the plane that Tom Cruise's fly at the end with Jennifer Connelly, Penny,
Mm-hmm.
the P-51 is a World War II era plane.
Oh, okay.
That is Tom Cruise's plane.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that is his actual plane, and he was actually flying it. Um, Miles Teller learned how to play the piano so he can play Great Balls of Fire, which is a callback to the song that Goose and Maverick played in the first movie.
Yeah, which
So,
they did a flashback to.
which they did a flashback to. You know what? Let me go back and say I like how this movie was. You didn't have to watch the first one to get this one,
No, you didn't, which was great.
which was great. Even though they did callbacks, like I hate movies like if I'm watching, let's say a Star Wars thing or something, I always get the feeling that there's something I should know but don't know because I don't watch it,
Right.
and that's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, or like you mentioned with Star Wars, like in the
Yeah.
shows, and it's like some character pops up, and it's like, oh, everybody's all excited, and I'm
Yeah.
like, who's
Yeah,
it?
and it's like you get the sense like I should know this is something, but I don't know what that something is.
Right.
And I felt like this movie did a good job of showing you nostalgia things without making you feel left out, like you didn't understand the joke.
Yeah, but if you did see the first movie, because I do feel like I pulled more appreciation for this movie by seeing the first movie, and I think that's kind of the perfect line to tell, where
Yeah.
it's like you get rewarded for seeing the first movie, but if you haven't, you can still understand 100%
Yeah,
everything.
it's not a requirement, which is
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
Especially because the movie came out like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, Glenn Powell, the guy who plays Hangman, wanted to play Rooster.
Ah,
Yeah, no, dude.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. And he almost turned it down when it's like, you can be Hangman. He was like, I don't want to be that guy. But he didn't, and so good for him.
yeah. I'm sorry, Miles Teller, I think was perfect for that.
Yeah, I think that was a wonderful choice.
Yeah.
So I mentioned a little bit before about how Tom Cruise wanted the crew to go through a training course because of the issues they've had with the first movie. So he actually came up with a 3-month boot camp to prepare them for this.
Mm.
Yeah, so it was a lot of being spun upside down and dunked in water, and
Gosh, I was like, sounds horrible.
it looked horrible on the internet. But and also he also wanted them to get used to flying, so they started off flying in Cessnas and then worked their way up to actually being inside the F-18s, so that they can handle all of that, so the cameras could be in the cockpit with them.
Yeah, definitely would be super nervous in one of those planes.
Absolutely. Yeah, would not want to do that. Um, the cast got to pick their own call signs.
Oh,
So Rooster was chosen because apparently they're in the same family as geese.
are they?
I'm like, are they, or are they just
That
birds?
doesn't.
That
Geese.
doesn't make any sense. Are geese and they're
I
two
thought
people?
geese and ducks were in the same family. Roosters and chickens are in the same family. What
Look,
does it
I'm
mean?
telling you what they say.
What does it say? Yeah, family as in bird.
It's a bird, which means you could have picked any bird.
It don't even make sense. A rooster is flightless, ain't it? I guess technically
they
it can
can
fly. Technically,
But like, okay, if his father's name was Goose, then you could have named yourself Duck or something. Mallard.
okay.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Mallard would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, duck wouldn't be good.
No, Duck would have been stupid.
Trash.
But I'm just saying, I feel like that's more closely related than that. You can name yourself Seagull or something. I don't know, but Rooster doesn't.
Yeah,
Whatever,
Rooster.
it grew on me. When I first heard it, I'm like, this is stupid.
I thought it was dumb. Yeah.
But it grew on me. So, I guess it did its job.
So Bob chose Bob.
I really need a backstory to that.
Maybe we can get Top Gun Bob. Third
I
movie.
need a backstory. They all got to
All
choose.
about Bob.
Did he choose Bob because he just couldn't think of anything? Okay. So the third act was an actual low level course that the Navy has. Um,
Okay, so they were flying in a real course.
yeah. Yeah. There were some things that were a lot of this movie was done practically. Obviously, Tom Cruise said he did not want CGI, and Tom Cruise gets what he wants.
Fair enough. This is not a movie that requires CGI.
It does not.
Yeah, put CGI in where required.
Yeah, it
Don't
does
worry.
not. I mean, it did require them to do some new camera things that they haven't done before. So what they actually end up doing was putting cameras in the back seat, because there's a real pilot flying while the actors are in the back.
Yeah,
So there's cameras up there, and it was up to the actors to start the camera, stop the camera, adjust lighting, and all that, because the director's on the ground
yeah.
and can't see what's happening.
Okay.
So it was up to the cast to do all of that, and then when they land, they watch the film and then decide if they need to make adjustments.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty dope, actually. Pretty dope. And so then you also get some things like there's a scene where a rooster actually comes out of his seat and hits his head on the canopy.
Oh.
Yeah, not playing. His seatbelt wasn't tight enough.
Oh. Oh, wasn't that when they were in F-14, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yep. His seatbelt wasn't tight enough. So there you go. There was also another thing in the beginning when Ed Harris is standing outside and the experimental plane flies over and you can see like the roof.
The roof lift up? Yeah.
Yeah. No, not planned. That plane really did destroy the set, and so that was their one and only shot for that.
Wow. Okay.
Because I was thinking, like, that's weird.
I was like, should it lift the roof? I don't think it should
I was
lift the
looking like,
roof of
why
the
would
building.
Yeah, no. Nope. Wasn't supposed to do that. So I think it cost them something like $11,000 an hour or whatever to use these planes.
Yeah, that checks out.
Sounds about right.
What was the budget?
Oh, I don't even know. Super expensive.
Yeah, super expensive.
Was that my last oh, okay, no. We were talking about G's before. So a typical human can withstand 5 G's, a roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's about normal. But they said the pilots are trained to withstand about 9 G's.
Right. Yeah. So like I don't think it was unrealistic. Like I would think it's possible for them to make that climb, but I mean they did highlight how difficult it was.
Yeah.
So I was just like that's one part. I know you were like, "Oh, you still want to fly these." I would not want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're flying with the flipping upside down and all of that,
Yeah.
but not the
Not to feel like 2,000 pounds against the back of the seat of the plane. Yeah, you know, I don't need to feel like 2,000 pounds.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I would have felt like as an actor, I'd have been like, I don't really want to do that.
They didn't actually do that climb, did they?
I think they did because they were saying that you can't act G forces on you basically. So I mean, it probably wasn't as severe, but yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
See, they were
See,
saying
gotta rethink becoming an actor.
when they went through the auditions, they had to answer like a questionnaire, like, "Are you afraid of flying?" Again, and it was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not afraid of flying." Because if you say
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not afraid of flying, but like, I definitely would be nervous in one of these planes.
I don't think they had an idea of what they were getting themselves into. But
Probably
I
not.
think none of those people will turn down a chance to be in Top Gun. Okay, so that was
Before we do that, the
mhm.
budget was $170 million.
Okay
So
then. Well
with
then,
advertising, probably close to 300 million.
so they're fine.
Yeah, they've already made
They made
that. The
their money.
weekend's not even over, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess it was worth the money.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now we can move into nitpicks.
Nitpicks. Didn't really. I didn't really have one. I don't know. Hangman, like I said, was a one note character, pretty much.
All right, I have two.
Okay. Two nits to pick.
Yep. One is not really a nitpick for real, but Rooster's name is Bradley Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Why you do that to that kid?
His Brad. Definitely would call him Brad.
Yeah, that's messed up. I don't know why you
I
do
don't know.
that to him.
People like alliterations.
Bradley Bradshaw.
All you would need is his middle name to be like something.
Bradley Braxton Bradshaw.
Bradley Braxton. And he'd be the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. All right, so, uh, yeah, Bradley Bradshaw. Not a great name.
Nope, it's not. All right, my next one is Miles Taylor is too young to be Goose's son.
I was thinking that in the movie. I was like, okay, 30 years. That kid was like, what, 8 or
No, the
something?
kid was not like 8.
At minimum, let's say he's 8. Either way.
No, he was like 4 or 5.
Oh, 5, 4. Whatever. So 14 years puts him at 18. You got pushed back 4 years, 22. Right? So, what's we said 14. So you're talking 18 years. There's 12 more years. He's 34. No, wait.
No, this is why he's too young. Movie came out in 1986. Let's say he's about 4 years old. 36 years later.
36 years later.
Yeah, we're in present time. He should be in his 40s.
I was thinking that. I was like, he would be in his 40s.
Yes.
So,
he's
yeah.
too young to be Goose's son.
Okay. All right. That's how I felt before. Like,
yeah.
Too young. So you said 4. So if he was 4 years old, he would be in his 30s though.
4 plus 36?
Oh no, he'll be 40. Okay,
Good,
no, never mind.
What kind of math are you doing?
I'm still going off of just 30 years.
Why? The movie is 36 years old.
Fine. Okay, 36.
Jeez, your math is not mathing.
Okay, it's not stand-up maths. All right, so okay, so yes, he's too young.
He is too young.
Fair enough. I did think that while I was watching the movie. I'm like, does it say check out? I don't think so.
It does not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, did they just not want to really pay Val Kilmer for these speaking lines?
That actually was all real. Val Kilmer was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2015. He had 2, I forgot the words for it, so he really cannot speak.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and when you see pictures with him with the scarf and stuff, that is how he really is.
Oh.
That was all legit.
Okay then. I was like, why did they choose this? You know?
I admit I thought the same thing. Then I read an article about his throat cancer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel awful. I take all of that back.
Yes. that is awful. Well, I'm sorry for Val Kilmer, and I'm sorry that I didn't know for the last 7 years. But
Yeah.
I guess I don't follow everybody, so.
Right. No, I didn't know that. Yes. So don't. That is legit.
Okay. Well, then. Cool.
But I'm glad he was in the movie. I think it made sense. I think it was glad to see that they went from being enemies to being close friends, and also that him being in the movie said like he was his protector, but when he wasn't there to protect him anymore, it took no time for John Hamm to be like, guess what, dude, you're out.
Yeah, man, that was some BS.
Yeah, just awful. Like you wasted no time doing this. I should
I
probably figure
know.
out what John Hamm's character name was. It's like stop calling him John Hamm.
No, it's just John Hamm.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
just John
he
Hamm.
was he
Then.
was John Hamm in the movie.
Bo Simpson.
Ew. I mean, I'm sorry if your name is Bo Sims. Somebody watching name was Bo Simpson, and they're like, oh.
Call sign Cyclone.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was all I had.
Cool. So, are we going to rate it?
We are.
All right. So, Derek did send in his rating, even though he couldn't join us for the podcast. So, he rated it. Watch while folding clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let you give your rating because I feel like everyone's gonna disagree with me here.
I understand your rating. I'm still going to give it a watch my folding clothes. And I say that as saying that I think is a good movie, but I don't see myself watching this more than once.
Okay. I could watch this movie again. Had a lot of fun with it. Again, I think it's because of how much I really like these planes, and I think it showcased it well. Plus, I think the writing was done really well. I'm going to rate it. I'm going to rate it best movie ever. This was
Wow.
this was one like a few movies that I saw in theater that I actually really enjoyed. Now, caveat, best movie ever is not like perfect, not perfect movie, but like a 9 out of 10. I'll rate it.
Man. I thought you were going to be like, I pay for that. Best movie ever.
Best movie ever.
Ooh.
I know. I told y'all. I was like, y'all gonna disagree with me.
I was giving you I pay for that, but dude, that's okay.
I could watch this again. I mean, compared to a lot of the other stuff that we've been seeing in theaters,
I mean,
this is one of the best better movies that we've seen.
I will give you that. We've seen a lot of awful movies this year.
Yeah.
So I will give you that. Still though.
No. I thought I might change it like as time went on, but I still really enjoyed the movie as I remember it. This our rating system is definitely surefire, and it's not it doesn't fluctuate at all at any point. But as of now, that's how I feel about the movie.
Okay then.
So I can see the 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. I would have definitely gave it like an 80.
80.
Yes.
I probably would have gave it probably a 90.
Okay. This is
Surprising. Look, I normally don't rate movies this high.
you don't, and I'm surprised you rated this movie this high. This will definitely be the highest rated movie this year for you.
Yes. In the last 2 years. When Endgame is probably the last movie I rated best movie ever.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I don't give any movies that rating.
Not typically. Okay. All right then. That was Darren's rating.
Everybody, look, our audience is going to agree with me.
You are right about that. The audience will absolutely agree with you.
Yes. So I guess for 3D Rivals, that'll probably make it an I pay for that.
It will make it an I pay for that, and I am fine with that.
Yeah. So as a podcast, we're gonna rate this movie, and I pay for that. That is a 4 out of 10, or at minimum 8. 4 out of 5. Excuse me, or at minimum an 8 out of 10 for the movie. It's actually one of the better movies of the year. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I know we spoiled stuff, but whatever. I don't think it matters, honestly.
It does not.
Yeah.
No.
And that's just saying some movies it doesn't matter if you know what's gonna happen. Just watching it is the experience, and that's probably what most of this movie is. The cinematography. I haven't said that in a while. I still say cinnamon. whatever. I can't say the word. So the cinematography was great in this movie. You had good actors in the movie. They didn't play Danger Zone a bunch of times. Although
Was twice not enough for you?
I only heard it once,
It
but
was twice.
it was twice. Okay, but you had to play it at least once.
I'm
I,
actually.
you know what? I would have given it a watch while putting clothes if you didn't play Danger Zone.
I mean, we said it when we did our Top Gun review that this movie had to absolutely play Danger Zone.
Yeah, it actually, you know what? I should drop to, um, and I pay for that just because they didn't put "Take My Breath Away."
I know they had a new song, which was fine. It had the "Take My Breath Away" vibes, but it was not "Take My
Nah,
Breath
you
Away."
gotta come on. How do you not put that in the movie?
I know. I really was suspecting it when him and Penny was together.
Yeah,
Disappointing.
I could do without the penny plot. I get it. I can do without it. I would every time it came up, I was very uninterested in what was
Because
happening.
it slowed the movie down.
Yeah, I'm like, get back. I want to see if they can figure this out.
We didn't need it, but it's understandable. And you can have a movie without a love interest. Come on now.
Yes, because everyone's lives is filled with that, right?
Of course.
Yes. Cool. All right. Cool. So that was our review of Top Gun Maverick. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. Also, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this as a YouTube video. And if you're watching or listening in any podcast form, make sure you leave a rating and review. With that being said, thank you guys. We will catch you next time.